Naomi G joins us today on the Fitness Business Podcast. Naomi is the founder of Naomi G Design. She comes to us from Portland, Oregon, and Naomi is a brand strategist and designer. That's exactly why we have her on the show today as we talk about sharpening your brand so consumers trust you. Naomi, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's the weather in Portland, Oregon?
We're finally seeing the sunshine. So we've had all of our rain. It'll probably be in and out through June, but
there's hope.
There's always hope.
Fantastic. Well, again, very appreciative that you're taking your time out today to join not only myself, but all of our listeners out there, which we like to call our FBP family. And I noticed last week when I asked you the quickfire 5 questions, you mentioned in the very last question that you're a Storybrand certified guide. Could you tell our FBP family a little bit about what that means?
Absolutely. Storybrand is a 7-part framework that helps a business clarify their marketing message so that people will listen and engage in the story that they're telling. It helps a business put themselves out of the role of a hero of a story and into the role of a guide so that their customers become the center of a story as opposed to the business being self-focused.
Now, is that a course that you went through?
The certification program has maybe 600 people in the whole world. And so it's a 2-day certification program that you go through. It's based in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's not necessarily a course. You have to apply, and then they welcome you into the program, and it's a community that is in constant contact online. There's a big group of guides, and we're always talking to each other.
Oh, that's really neat. I like that. I like that you call yourself guides. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, today we're going to talk about branding, and I'm going to start right off by asking you, how do you define branding?
Yeah, absolutely. Branding is like a tapestry, is how I've been starting to talk about it recently, to explain to people that there's multiple facets that need to come together. The first thing that is really important is that your brand has a clear message in your marketing. It's really easy for us as business owners to ramble, to get excited about just different rabbit trails that we could go down in our business and to talk about things that are not congruent. But having a clear message is really important. And then on the other side is design, having really strategic design, having design that highlights that incredibly clear message is also really important. So if you picture those things as the different threads involved in a tapestry, they might be beautiful in and of themselves, but when you weave them together, it's so much more impactful.
What I really like about that is that you kept using the word clear message. And I think that is so important just from over the years of having different brand strategists on. And that seems to be one of the biggest faults that many organizations have, is that their brand just isn't completely clear. So I appreciate that you use that word repetitively. So my next question then would be, how does it affect how people view our businesses?
Yeah. I touched on this last week in the short interview with you, that our branding, when it's done really well, it enables us to show up like an expert, like a legit expert. And the reason that's important is because so many businesses right now, they can claim to be an expert in whatever they want. In this world of online everything, you can just create a social media account and all of a sudden you're an expert on something. And so when your branding is done right, when you have a clear message and compelling design, then you can show up as a legit expert in your niche, whatever that niche might be. And I mean, I even said this, I think already to you last week, that you can have amazing success stories. You could have helped, thousands of moms heal from diastasis, or you could have helped train all these Olympic athletes, and you could still be viewed as an amateur if your branding is not solid, both in the clear aspect of your messaging and in your design. So when people are looking at our businesses, if we don't have those things honed in, then the amateur status quickly gets assigned to us by somebody who is just glancing at our business to make a quick judgment.
Yeah, I do think the consumer has gotten so smart and very savvy because, it's kind of overdone in the sense of I'm the expert. Oh, we're number one. We're the best. And it's like, all right, how many bests can you have? And how many number
Yeah.
ones in a small town can you have? So I chuckled there when you said about that because consumers have definitely gotten a lot more savvy.
Yeah.
What impact would you say branding has on consumer sentiment towards us?
It's such a good question, Dori. So, as part of my brand recognition formula, I walk people through creating a really clear message through the Storybrand framework. And part of that process is helping people work out what their empathetic statements are and how they can show their authority to their viewer. And I like to call those empathetic statements like a been there, done that type statement, or a yep, I feel ya type of a statement. Because without showing our consumers, without showing our customers, our clients that we understand the shoes that they're standing in, we can't connect with them on the level that they need us to. And like I said, we want them to be the hero of the story. We step into this awesome role of guiding them on a journey when we remove ourselves from the spotlight. And because of that, it makes them grow this reciprocity for us, this deep connection with us that they want to keep coming back for more. When we are able to create those connections through our marketing, we see big wins in our businesses.
I'd love to know what your thoughts are on can we, and when I say we, meaning business, whether it's fitness business or coffee business, whatever it may be, but can we change the consumer's view?
Yeah, this is a really interesting question to me. So I might reframe it for you. My first thought was actually another question, and that is, do you want to change their view towards you? Are they even the right audience for you right now? And so having an idea of who your ideal client is going to be really important, because when we all first start in our businesses, we want to be everything to everyone. And that can only work for so long while you get your feet wet in a new business. So as your business grows, as you learn, as you expand and scale, then you want to be able to really hone in on who your target audience is. So have you niched down enough is a question that I would like people to ask themselves, and know who your real ideal client is. No one can be all things to all people. So if your ideal client is the one consuming your content and they're just not feeling you, then it's a messaging issue. Your message isn't clear. If they know that you offer what they need, but they're not connecting with you on that deeper level, then I would say that it's a messaging issue almost every single time. Because if we have our messaging on point, then we are going to connect with the people that we want to bring into our circles.
I think the hardest thing that, again, with all these wonderful guests I've had on over the past couple of years, the biggest hurdle seems to be whether businesses, they want to admit to themselves whether the branding is on point or not. Like they think it is, even though it really might not be. And they,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a really great test that somebody could do to figure out if their branding is on point or not. And I think maybe I thought about mentioning this a little later. I'm not sure, but I might as well mention it now. I call it the Grunt test. Many Storybrand certified guides call it the Grunt test. I just say, open your website and don't scroll. Have homepage. I call it above the fold in old timey newspaper terms. Just open your website and take it to strangers. You could go to a coffee shop, bring it to church on Sunday, go to your neighbor's house. It doesn't matter. Just take it to someone who's not invested in your business and show it to them for 5 to 10 seconds. Say, close your laptop and say, do you know what I do and who I serve? If they can't just grunt, yeah, I do, then you don't pass the Grunt test. And you can really easily say to yourself, I need to clarify. I need to clarify. I need to clarify. I need to clarify.
Okay, that was awesome. The Grunt test. Love that. Everybody out there listening, make sure if you really want to know the truth, take Naomi's advice on the Grunt test. Very nice. All right, Naomi, if you could distill it down to 2 things that would help a fitness business owner start gaining brand recognition, what would those two things be?
Yeah, kind of spin-offs of things we've already talked about, but I could talk about this all day. The first one is always going to be clarifying your message. As the Storybrand framework is famous for saying, if you confuse, you lose. So I would advise people to clarify, clarify, clarify. If someone wanted to use this framework on their own, they could either read the book, Building a Story Brand. It's going to walk you through it. You could use the tools inside that. It has a website tool that's completely free that helps you walk through the framework on your own. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to have consistent visuals from social media graphics, opt-ins, your website, email templates for your marketing emails. Everything needs to be consistent in how you show up in front of your clients. So it is kind of stuttered there. So I'll let you edit this little portion out. I just am reading a little thing that I wrote that it seems important, but I can't find it.
You're nailing it, Naomi. You are doing so great.
Oh, thank you.
You're nailing it. Keep going.
I'm not sure I missed anything. I'm rereading it and I think I said everything I wanted to say, but I don't know what the last thing I said was.
It is.
So maybe I'll just restart the visual part.
Okay, go ahead. You start whenever you're ready.
Okay. The second piece that I would say is to have consistent visuals. It could be your opt-ins, your downloads, freebies, social media, your website, email templates that you're using in your email marketing. All of your visuals, no matter where your brand is seen online, need to be consistent.
Perfect. And what are some ways that a fitness business can be efficient in using their branding so it doesn't eat up time and, take away from running their business?
Absolutely. The number one thing is to templatize everything. So I actually created this freebie that just released, and I'm so excited about it because it is helping people be more efficient with their time as they use Canva. Now, as a designer, people might be like, that's not a great software for someone who's a designer because it's taking business away from you. Here's the thing. I fully accept everyone is using Canva. It's fine. It's not stealing business from me. Use the tools that you need to run your business. So I want people to be able to utilize Canva in a really efficient way. So I just released a freebie that is a walkthrough tutorial that shows them the exact systems that I use, kind of a behind the scenes of how I set my clients up for success once we've done a rebrand or redone their messaging, so that they can use Canva to do their social media, to do their different marketing materials, and not add thousands of to-do list items every time they think of marketing. So templatizing is so huge, and I will just shout it from the rooftops for as long as I run my business. So systemize and templatize everything. I mean, we do that for everything else in our business. So your design stuff should be the same.
I love that you're just like, hey, I live by the motto, work smarter, not harder. And
it's so true.
Use the tools that are presented. Listen, in any capacity, we all kind of use some type of tool to advance us in a very quick manner, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, yeah. I love that we're very real about that. So, and we will have all your contact information on our show notes. If anybody wants to call you on that one, you can talk to them and discuss about that, right?
Absolutely. And it's in my link in bio in my Instagram also, if somebody wants to find it that way.
Perfect. Well, Naomi, thank you. Oh, you know what? We have some time left before I wrap it up. Do you have something else that you'd like to talk about? Is there another point? Is there advice or maybe a mistake? Is there a mistake like most people make? Or
yeah, that's a great one.
Okay. I love talking about mistakes. I ask people because I feel like it just, again, it relaxes people, like, oh, she's a brand strategist. She's an expert. She's on the Fitness Business Podcast and she's learned from mistakes. Like, well, that's real. So I love that. Okay. So how can we word this? Let's see. Do you want me to ask you what are some mistakes that you have made? Do you want me to ask you what are some of the biggest mistakes when it comes to branding that people make?
Maybe what is one of the biggest mistakes that holds people back from gaining brand recognition?
Okay, what is one of the biggest mistakes people make that hold them back from brand recognition? Is that right?
Let me see if that's the best way. What's one of the biggest mistakes that people make that hold them back from maybe achieving great branding? Something like that is probably better.
Okay. All right. So we've got, we're doing great on time. So I'll ask you this last question. And then after this question, I'm going to be like, Naomi, oh my God, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Okay. So,
and then there's a 3. Are you asking me?
That's another separate, that's like our third.
Oh, I see.
Okay. That one's sponsored. So we have to separate that one.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Here we go. And finally, Naomi, I'd love to, I always say I like to talk about recognizing people's mistakes and what they've learned and, how, we always grow from making mistakes. You know what, let me start over. I'm rambling too much. And finally, Naomi, my last question to you is, what is one of the biggest mistakes people make that hold them back from achieving great branding?
Yeah. This is something that I love to talk about because I'm so passionate about this answer. One of the biggest mistakes I see is that people do not utilize a brand playbook. This is commonly called a style guide, actually. The reason I don't call it a style guide is because I include in my brand playbooks both the visual and the message side of your branding. So commonly a style guide would hold things like your logo usage, your colors, your typography, things that are visual for your brand. My brand playbook that I like to talk to people about also holds in like the problems that you solve, your elevator pitch. It has your tagline, it has all of the pieces of your clear messaging that you've developed. So one of the biggest things that I see people making a mistake in is not having this central document for their businesses that keeps them consistent. So even when I first started my business, even though I'm a designer, I just thought, I don't need that document. And I didn't create one. And so what I saw is I put off posting on social media. I put off blogging. I put off a lot of things because I just didn't feel like I had time to go back and think about what were my colors, or, hey, what's that font I used? Or, hey, what's that one way I wanted to word things all the time? And so having this centralized document helps people be efficient, but also consistent in how they show up both visually and in their marketing message in front of their audience. Because without this document, it takes extra time, things get confused. And even if you're a business of one person, as you start to delegate, it could be you delegate to your teenage son, or it could be that you hire a VA, or you could have a team of 20 people that all touch your branding. This is a document that's going to make sure everybody's doing it the same way and talking about your business in the same way, so that people aren't just diverging off into different paths and misrepresenting who you are as a company.
Naomi, thank you so much. You get delivered so many great little nuggets today of information. It was fantastic. I really like your piece about the Grunt method of taking the laptop to, an outside source, opening it and asking them like, hey, can you define what my business is? That was awesome. I loved that.
Absolutely. I hope all your listeners do the Grunt test. It's going to be so valuable for them.
Well, we'll let you know if I hear of anybody. So FBP family, if you do this Grunt test, reach out to Naomi and let her know. We'll have her contact information in our show notes. So you can just shoot her a quick email if you'd like, or you can connect with her through her website. But we'd love to hear back from you. Naomi, thank you so much. But listen, there's one thing I just want to touch base on before we separate today. And that is, I loved your little story that you wrote when you filled out your form to come onto the podcast that I think you have to share with everybody. And that is, you put yourself through college you put yourself through college working at the front desk at the local fitness facility, and tell all of our listeners out there how you got so much free personal training.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in college, I paid my way by working at the gym, and I started working in the kids club and eventually moved out to the front desk. And at the front desk, we would hire these new trainers to work at the gym. And when you're new at anything, you kind of start with zero. So nobody had clients. And so I would pitch myself to new trainers as they got hired at the gym and say, hey, listen, why don't you just go train me after I get off my shift? People will see you on the floor and realize you're amazing at your job. I'm pretty fit at this time. I'm in college, not that I'm not right now, but in college, you're kind of, you think you're amazing. And so I was like, I look great. So why don't you just take me out there, put me through a workout, people will see, and they'll want to hire you. And multiple times trainers would do this with me until they just kept training me every time they had a free opening until they booked up and they didn't have any more openings.
Well, that was absolutely brilliant, not only on the marketing side, but also to get yourself some free personal training. So everybody out there listening, if you are an employee at a fitness club, take Naomi's trick to get yourself some free personal training. Fantastic. Naomi, thank you. Thank you. What a pleasure for coming on and being our industry expert today.
The same. Thanks, Dori, for your time.
Okay. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Question, you nailed question when I said, can we change the consumer's view? And you're like, well, actually, I'd like to rephrase that question. Do you want to change their view or something like that? I was like, you just spun that. It was excellent. You did a great job.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Yeah, thank you. I think your podcasting debuting is going quite well.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. We have our last and final question. Here's how this one works. I'm going to ask you what are your three things? What are three things? I'm just going to say, what are three things, not your three things. What are three things? And then I'm going to say fitness entrepreneurs instead of they. Okay. What are three things fitness entrepreneurs could do in less than 15 minutes to evaluate and improve their brand? You're going to answer it. Again, this is no more than 2 minutes. Okay. You can either do 1, 2, 3, first, second, third, my top tip, my second tip, however you want to word it. And then when you're done, just pause because there's no follow-up question on this one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Naomi, what are your three things that fitness entrepreneurs could do in less than 15 minutes to evaluate and improve their brand?
So good. I'm all about implementation. So I love to give practical tips. The first one we have already talked about so much, the Grunt test. Do the Grunt test and see if you pass the Grunt test. Now, if you don't pass the Grunt test, then you move to my second thing. The second one plays off of this in that if you don't pass, update your above the fold section on your website. When a business helps people in any way, it is easy to say something like, live your best life, or feel better than ever before, or be a better you. And those things are so vague. They feel true to you for your clients, but they're very vague. So just take 15 minutes to update your website. And here I'm going to give you some examples of something that's much more specific of what you do and who you serve. So you could say something like, be a stronger mom, get a fitness plan customized to your life. You see how that's really specific as opposed to be a better you. I don't know if, so I instantly come to this website and I say, I'm a mom. I need a fitness plan. What I do and who I serve. You could say, make the team, personal training for high schoolers who want to play in college. That's so specific. And it's so easy to make those updates to your above the fold. So the third thing that I would suggest that takes less than 15 minutes, I will shamelessly plug this freebie I just launched, because anyone using Canva, this is literally me walking you through my internal processes for setting up Canva that I do for all of my clients. And it's going to make you so much more efficient with your time so that you do not waste time on your marketing tasks. You can actually get back to doing the business stuff that you love to do.